Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Maurice joins us. He's the CEO of the Nevada Housing Coalition. A fascinating discussion coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers. Big R in Sparks is located on Bering Boulevard next to Smith's and across from Reed High School. It's a 50,000 square foot clothing store and a whole lot more. And for these wintry days, jackets, hoodies, flannel shirts, insulated bib overalls, and merino wool socks. Plus, Big R still has shovels and snowmelt. You need it, they've got it. Big R. Hardware, clothing, and a whole lot more.
Save money and take transit. Did you know you can ride the bus all day for less than what it would cost you for a gallon of gas? Plan your trip now by going to rtcwashoe.com.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
What do you count on? You count on your power every day. At NV Energy, we've always powered what's important to you, but we're not looking at the past. We're focused on the future. While our standards are high, our rates will remain low, and our commitment to renewables isn't just meeting standards, but leading the way, because you can count on more than just your power. You can count on the company who brings it to you. That's our promise. You can count on it.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we are pleased to welcome to the program for the first time Maurice Page. He is CEO of the Nevada Housing Coalition. Pleasure to have you on the program, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's good to be here.
So let's start out with the most basic question. What is the Nevada Housing Coalition and what do you do?
Great question to start off. So, we're a 501c3 member-based nonprofit that works with organizations throughout the state of Nevada that provides resources, education, and we collaborate with multiple entities to address the affordable needs or the affordable housing needs of all Nevadans.
Okay, so that's like the biggest problem you could possibly take on at this point in time.
It's one of the biggest problems in our state, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Because you have tons of people moving here, you have tons of people already here, and the cost of housing because of the lack of land, so therefore the ability for builders to be able to build affordable homes, and I don't just mean affordable housing, I mean affordable homes for everybody.
Correct.
So we're stuck in this morass.
Yes.
What are some of the solutions that you're either seeking or finding?
So one of the things that the coalition is really trying to do is just be a convener, right? And what that means is we're trying to bring our local jurisdictions, our state leaders, our developers to the table to be able to discuss best practices that is going on around the country.
For example?
For example, so let's take one of our huge successes that we've had over the last couple of years, which is the Home Means Nevada initiative.
I was going to say, I'd like to start with huge successes.
Yes, so let's start with that. So the 500, we was able, the Nevada Housing Coalition was able to put together the legislation in the language around that bill, proposed that to the governor during legislation. We was able to get that passed.
And so how much was that?
$500 million.
$500 million.
Right, and so monies from that 500 was broken down into multiple categories. It was home ownership, number one. It was land acquisition, it was preservation, and it was development. And so what that's going to do and what that money has been able to do is, number one, bring on roughly about 4,000 new units, which some have already been completed. There's already been some groundbreakings, and then we're still looking to start building on some other land. I mean, not other land. Start building some new homes in the near future. So within the next 3-4 years, we're going to see at least 4,000 to 5,000 homes built that'll be affordable to Nevadans. We've been able to also invest into more home ownership and down payment programs for Nevadans who are able to, who are not fiscally able to bring up or get the money together to be able to afford their brand new home. And then there's been the fact that we've been able to purchase land so that this way we can use that.
All right, let me slow you down a bit here.
Okay, all right.
So we can get into some of these areas a little
Absolutely.
bit more deeply. So I would think that the probably the most difficult part, because if you've got the money, it's the land acquisition. We've got all these lands bills, Northern Nevada and Southern Nevada. In fact, Clark County turned down a lands bill that they were offered because it wasn't enough land. And, you know, at this point, it doesn't seem like we're going to see in this congressional session any lands bills passed. Is that the same feeling you have?
I'm a little bit more optimistic.
Really?
And you know, that's my role.
Okay.
You know,
no,
that's
I know.
my role, right?
I'm an optimist too.
Yes, I'm an optimistic, and so you know, I'm
Where
not
does that
saying
optimism come from? Is it,
because
coming
we've
from our
made strides.
delegation?
No, it's because that, you know, right now I know that the governor is working towards creating more housing, more affordable housing. And so I think he knows the importance of it. I think there is an opportunity. Now, not saying it may not happen next legislation, but I think that if we are able to at least present it and have something that's solid and something that he can really consider.
Okay, but you're okay. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Okay.
But you're talking about the governor. The governor doesn't have the ability to pass a federal lands bill, and wouldn't that be the biggest driver to help you in your goal of providing affordable housing? Is to get lower land costs for your developers. Right. Because that's the whole problem. Is the reason that the prices are so high is that there's no place to go. I mean, the mayor of Sparks was here yesterday. He said Sparks is out of land.
Yes. Right. So, and taking it from a federal delegation process, we would definitely need to be talking to our leaders in that respect to help them, educate them, let them, and not educate them because they know what the deal is. They know what the situation is. So I take that back. But to be able to, you know, get on our side and fight for more land, right? Because that's what we really need. You know, I was out in Fernley yesterday, and you know they are approved to, you know, bring in 3,500 new homes. They're ready to go, but they can't do it, right? Because they can't find the land, and there's other obstacles that they're facing.
Water being another.
So, you know, those are things that we're trying to take back to not only the governor, but also to our congressional leaders and say, hey, listen, we have these opportunities. Look at the growth of Nevada. Look at how many people are moving in here. Look at the job opportunities. But we need housing. And so there has to be that push. And again, like you said, to be an optimist, to be optimistic about wanting to, you know, get some land bills, I think, you know, if we put it out there, you never know what can happen.
Well, yeah, and I mean, Congressman Amodei was here a couple of weeks ago, and he's not optimistic for this session, and he's not optimistic for an omnibus lands bill. And one of his biggest concerns is that most of the people in Washington, D.C. don't understand how much land the federal government owns in places like Nevada. So it makes it incredibly difficult. One of the things, again, that Ed Lawson, the mayor of Sparks, was talking about on the program was potentially, and something he doesn't really want to see, is construction going vertical in Sparks because of a lack of land. Is that something that you're dealing with? You know, as a potential. I mean, Congresswoman Dina Titus years ago wanted to do a bill. It was called the Ring Around the Valley for Las Vegas, where everything would be going vertical because she didn't want to see the urban sprawl. But Sparks is a whole different story. They would rather go out than go up.
Yeah, I mean, I think it varies on the different jurisdictions
Sure.
throughout the state. So, yeah, I think you have a Sparks that says, hey, let's not do that. We have we can do things from a different perspective. I think in Southern Nevada and in other areas, you can definitely go vertical, and I think there's the potential to be able to do that. But again, it depends on, and we're looking at data to see where what would be best fit for these various jurisdictions, because we have meetings with not only Northern Nevada representatives, but Southern Nevada reps and with the rurals. And so, we're trying to come together and see what would be the best fit for them.
One of the things that is amazing about where we are in Nevada right now is that it doesn't matter where you look, whether it's Clark County, Washoe, Reno, Sparks, or in rural Nevada, the whole state is on fire in a good way because businesses are coming, mines are opening up. There are, Ely has a $2.5 billion water project that's online. So, I guess one of the things I brought up on the show many times over the last few years is that I don't think everybody's going to be able to live in Reno and Sparks. I think, that we're going to have to look beyond. Now, obviously you pointed out some of the problems with Fernley, which can be addressed over time. But, are you looking at Fernley, Fallon, Yerington as places where the housing needs to go because you're not going to be able to develop affordably in Reno Sparks?
Yeah, we definitely have to build up those other communities. And again, I reference Fernley just because I spent pretty much half the morning there yesterday.
Right.
So understanding
it's on your mind.
It's on my mind, right? It's fresh, and I see that the potential there is really huge. I mean, they've already grown.
It's massive.
Right, and so they've already grown. And so, talking to the mayor and the city manager, they feel like they can grow, they can double their population within the next, 5 to 7 years. So
Roger Norman wants to build a ring road around
Absolutely.
Fernley to be able to handle the traffic that's going to come.
Absolutely.
But it hinges on those lands bills.
But it hinges on those lands bills. And so if we can work with, our leaders, our congressional leaders, and make sure that we can open up some of that, and if we can expand in those other communities, I think that'll be a huge benefit. I mean, because like you said, we have these jobs that are coming online. We have these organizations, these companies, major conglomerates that are coming in, and they're offering the opportunities. And so we have to start looking at that, and we have to start helping out our smaller towns and give them the access to be able to build not only housing but affordable, attainable housing, overall.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back more with Maurice Page. He is CEO of the Nevada Housing Coalition after this timeout.
Safety is the #1 priority for the trucking industry. Over $7 billion a year is spent on technology like this electronic eye that will apply the brakes automatically. But the most important factor for safety is the truck driver. These hardworking men and women who safely move over 70% of our nation's freight and 94% of Nevada's. We thank you because trucks move America forward.
Pro Group Management offers workers' comp services to a growing number of industries. As businesses grow and change with the times, the need for a solid workers' comp program must be flexible and up to date. The evolving nature of regulations can make staying ahead of complex tasks challenging. But Pro Group Management simplifies the work so your industry can move forward and succeed. Pro Group Management, workers' comp that works for you.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Maurice Page. He is the CEO of the Nevada Housing Coalition. So here's an interesting question for you. In 2024, what's the definition of an affordable house? I mean, for working class, poor, middle class. I mean, the rich are fine.
Yeah.
They can sell their property in California and have a lot of cash left over and buy a mansion here. But for everybody else,
yeah, it's very, what we can say and what the data says is that, overall, as far as our renters, close to 60% or 57.3 of our renters or our rent burden, which means that their cost is just through the roof.
So above 30% of their
above
income.
30%, and so they're looking at roughly anywhere between 45 to 60% of their actual housing costs are going is whatever they come in, whatever they are bringing in. That's 45 to 60% of it is going strictly to their house. So that means rent, that means groceries, that means whatever else that they need to.
Yeah, but
keep
it
their
doesn't
home.
include childcare.
Doesn't even include childcare, right? So that's even a totally different a pot that we have to look at and examine. Also, we're seeing the cost of, especially in Northern Nevada, the cost of homes are averaging about $450,000. It's come down a little bit over the last year, but we're looking at $450,000. Just a couple of years ago, we were looking at $350,000.
So that's close to $150,000 for a down payment.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So when you talk about what does it mean or what does it look like to have affordable housing, there really is no real answer at this point because, again, we're looking at a population that is really underemployed. The growth of the economy and the housing market, people are not the wages are not keeping up. And so people are now being priced out. National Low Income Housing says that people need to make, in essence, of $42,000 a year just to live in a one bedroom. Think about that. Think about your folks that live or that work for McDonald's or work for Uber or Lyft, or think about your small business community who has to not only put resources into their business so that they can have their business grow, but now they're struggling just to pay their mortgage or their rent, take care of their children, whatever the case may be. And you're caught in this fiasco of what do I choose to pay every single month, right? And so I think that's
Okay,
what that's the work of the coalition, though, right? And so what we're trying to do.
All right, but let me throw a different thing at you,
Mm-hmm.
which is expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Are we in America supposed to believe that from the get-go we're all going to be able to afford a house? I mean, I didn't buy my first house until I was 38 years old.
Yeah.
And I spent 2 years working, and I don't mean for anybody to cry, it was fine,
Mm-hmm.
but I worked 3 jobs for 2 years to save up the down payment for that first house.
Yeah.
There are sacrifices that need to be made. I've got a family member who spent the last 3 years living with his parents because he needed to be able to save up for a down payment on the house.
Mm-hmm.
They've got into that house. Back with Maurice Page after this. We're at Tamarack Casino at Nevada Steak with Chef Mike Mahoney. You have fabulous food here. This halibut is extraordinary.
The halibut was awesome. It was fun to cook. You get a nice sear on top, and then we base that with a little bit of butter and garlic and herbs and stuff. It's fabulous.
It's a lot of butter.
It
and
is.
it looks really good, and it tastes even better. I'm trying this, which is the crab cake. You've got this crispy coating on the outside. What is that?
Actually, that's cornflakes.
Huh?
Cornflakes.
Really?
Yes, sir. The crispiness of the cornflake just adds more crispiness to the already, crispy crab cake. It's awesome.
It's my favorite, and I'm a crab cake fanatic. Okay, this I just tried for the first time. It's ahi tuna in a whole different way.
Ahi tuna, it's a tuna tartare. It's ground up. We mix it with a little bit of spicy mayo, a little avocado puree, and our house-made ponzu sauce in there as well.
It tastes to me like sushi without the rice.
It's
got
sushi.
all the flavorings, but it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah, it's amazing.
All right, ribeye steak.
Ribeye steak, classic. Harris Ranch, certified Angus beef. You can't go wrong with a good steak here.
No, and that ribeye is particularly good. Again, we tried that earlier. It is fabulous.
Yeah.
The wedge salad. I love a wedge salad that comes with a giant hunk of bacon on it. So you've got healthy and you've got bacon.
A little bit of indulgence. Yeah, a little indulge. What's great about this one is the bacon is cooked fresh to order for every single salad, so it's nice and hot.
Folks, you've got to come to Tamarack, the casino in South Reno. It is a fabulous place to begin with. It's made even more fabulous by Nevada Steak and your great food. Thank you for inviting us, and we will be coming back over and over because I'm in love with this tuna, I'm in love with the crab cake, well, the ribeyes, well, the halibut. It's all good, folks.
Just about everything.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Maurice Page. He's the CEO of the Nevada Housing Coalition. So as I was saying, do we need to redefine our expectations and go back to the old ways of maybe you live with your parents to save up the down payment, maybe your parents sign off on your first mortgage? Do those kind of things come into the thinking today, or is it just we need the housing, we got to figure out a way to pay for it?
Let me step outside of my role.
Sure.
Okay. And so I would say that, there is the expectation, or I think there's the belief that we need to re-examine what the American dream is, right? And so the American dream at one point in time was you get the house, you get the fence, you get the yard, you have your family, was it 2.5 kids, and you live happily ever after.
And that's 70 years ago.
Correct. I think we're living in different times. I think, especially when you look at our children in that generation that's coming on board, I don't think they want housing. I don't think they want to be responsible for, a 1,500 or a 2,000 square foot house with a yard and have to take care of a garage and things of that nature.
Do we even need that much? Because housing back in the day was half the size, because I think that's part of the problem. So our expectation has grown that we need 2,000 square feet, when in fact our parents were thrilled to have 1,000.
Absolutely. And what we have seen just in the last 20 years, and that's during the time that I've lived here in Nevada, is we have gone from a starter home being 1,200, 1,300 square feet, 1,000 square feet, under 130,000, now to you have to start at 1,700 to 2,000, and now that type of home is still going for 380 and above. So again, if this is Maurice's perspective. If we have to, reimagine what the American dream is, especially looking at our younger demographics, they don't want that responsibility. They are more comfortable in a studio or a 1-bedroom, a 2-bedroom, maybe have some roommates, and then go from there. I think we definitely need, though, to look at the current working class, look at our baby boomers who are retiring, and examine, okay, what is the needs for them? Because number one, that working class definitely needs homes. And because we're bringing in so many transients, so many people are moving here because of the economics or the economy, we have to build housing. And that's Maurice, right?
Of course.
So that is the need. Now, that generation that I was speaking of, like you said, I have a 21-year-old, right? And he has a great job. He works very hard, but he's also rent burdened, right? And so we have to, as parents, I have to make sure that still have to ensure that he has everything. Now, his thing is, I don't want to live with my parents.
Right, of course.
I don't want to have to depend on them. And I love that, right? And so, but the ultimate goal, I would believe, is for him, and we've had discussions, is for him to eventually have his home, but he's not even thinking about that until he's thinking 40. He wants to be able to just come and go as he please, work, go to school, and try to save and think about things at a later date, right? And so, again, it's reimagining what that American dream is. And I think we're just in a different time, different era, and we have to just, we have to move with the way things are going.
Do we also need to incentivize builders to be able to construct housing that is less expensive, but they can't make as much profit as they can selling to the middle and upper classes?
That's very controversial.
We've never had that kind of talk on this program before.
Right. So,
you got about 2 minutes here, literally.
So what we can look at, again, we have to talk to builders. We have to talk to our local jurisdictions.
Are they listening?
They are listening. But we also, overall, we have to look at the cost of labor. And I mean, this is something that we've been talking about, and I don't want to sound redundant, but these are just the facts, right?
Right.
When you talk about labor, when you talk about the whole time for these developers, and it gets put on the purchaser or the renter or the buyer at the end of the day, because they have to make up their costs, right? And so, you know, there has to be a medium ground that we have to come to, and hopefully, you know, the coalition will be able to bring these folks to the table. We have a round table where we will be bringing these leaders to the table to discuss, you know, what is going on and what has been the strengths of development, what is the opportunities and what is the threats. And so we're hoping that over the next, you know, couple of months, when we have these different types of meetings, this will allow us to be able to, you know, come together and bring some bright ideas and some new innovation, so that we can help both entities reach their goals.
And when, especially here in Northern Nevada, but I think the folks in Southern Nevada, when they look at LA and we look at San Francisco, in horror at the situation in those two towns, that we don't want that to be the way it is in Nevada. But I mean, certainly you go around, you know, north of Cashman, and you're not seeing a pretty sight there in terms of people who need housing. I thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. Will you come back?
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's a lot more to talk. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm presuming you're going to be in Carson during the legislative session.
Yes, I will.
So we'll see you there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
And we'll be right back.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Story County is leading Nevada. Home of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, Google, Tesla, Panasonic, and other world-leading companies. Story County provides thousands of tech, advanced manufacturing, and logistics careers for Nevadans. We're diversifying and driving Nevada's economy and generating millions in tax revenue and billions in economic activity across northern Nevada. Story County is leading Nevada's future.
7 at 7 is a newscast built for your smartphone. It's a 7-minute newscast available every weekday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. at lvrj.com. We don't waste your time, and we give you the day's top stories.
We at the RJ have noticed some similarities between us and a certain BTS character, RJ.
Plus the latest in Las Vegas business, weather, health, and entertainment news. 7 at 7 streaming now on your smartphone.
Modern boutique Ahern Hotel and Event Center sits at the heart of the Las Vegas Strip. 2 floors of meeting and event space are ideal for groups and conventions. Stay in one of 200 luxurious rooms and suites. Brand your event throughout the property. Flexible event spaces make for easy planning and personalization. Take over the entire hotel with a full buyout option.
Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers. You can catch us online 24 hours a day at nevadanewsmakers.com, or you can download the podcast wherever you like to get your podcast. We'll see you on the next broadcast.